But they looked at me and they said that we're going on an adventure. And I had no idea what was about to happen. They each grabbed one of my hands, and then we just started flying through space.
The following video does not glorify drug use, but instead it intends to promote harm reduction by discouraging the ignorant use of specific drugs, as well as harm elimination by discouraging certain people from using specific drugs altogether. There is no right or wrong way to consume these substances, but there are unsafe and safer ways, and what's more comfortable for one person may be more dangerous for another. Before watching this video, please understand that psychedelic experiences may not be entirely predictable, but that doesn't mean that bad trips and good trips are random. Rather, it means psychedelic experiences are influenced by factors such as the individual's given setting, and dosage at that specific point in their life. Therefore, you will not experience what these people have experienced, but you could potentially experience something similar. However, these are random people, so please do not make decisions based on what they say without your own due diligence. And also, take note, once again, that these substances affect everyone differently, especially those with pre-existing mental conditions.
So this trip happened September of 2020, and I was feeling very depressed and anxious and stressed, and just kind of was the lowest I had been in a while. Life was throwing me some pretty nasty curveballs at this time. I was just worrying about a lot of things, had a lot of changes in my life, and I decided to take 2 grams of mushrooms in my room by myself, and I did lemon tech. I did that, and I took it at 9:10 p.m., and I was listening to the Endless River album by Pink Floyd, which is really good if you haven't listened to it already. I had some colorful, relaxing visuals on my TV, and I had the lights down low, and I was getting comfy on my couch and stuff. And then 30 minutes passed, and I felt very warm and fuzzy. And I think it was because of the song that I had been listening to in that moment, by one of the songs by Pink Floyd. I felt really tired, so I laid back on my couch and closed my eyes. And I don't remember how much time had passed from when I first closed my eyes to when all this next experience happened, but I felt like I was in a different reality, kind of like a different realm, like a different universe, and I felt pretty disconnected from the reality that we're all so familiar with here. And I was standing in a very white space looking around, and it was very empty, like I was kind of floating again in that white space. And then 2 silhouettes popped up. They just popped right up in front of me. And I couldn't make out any physical or facial characteristics. I could only see the silhouette of kind of what their body shape looked like. And this is very interesting, actually. So one of the guys he was tall, scrawny, and he had a buzzed head. And the other one was short, and he was chunkier, and he had curly hair. And the one that was, scrawny and had a bald head actually was one of my best friends, had been killed in an ATV accident a few months prior to this trip. And when I was telling my friend, actually his sister, she mentioned, do you think that was him? And it made a lot of sense, because I don't know who those people were, why they looked, had those specific characteristics, but it made sense because when I remembered back, just the way that he acted in my trip was very, very similar to the way that he acted in this reality of being on Earth and him being my friend. And the other one, the shorter, a little bit chunkier with the curly hair, which is another one of my friends that is still alive, but I think that was him. I don't know who else it would be. But they looked at me and they said that we're going on an adventure. And I had no idea what was about to happen. They each grabbed one of my hands, and then we just started flying through space. And the way that I can describe this flying through space feeling is, a bunch of stars coming at your face really fast, and everything else is black around you, and it feels like you're kind of going through a tunnel because the stars are coming at you so fast. That's kind of what it felt like. And while we were flying through those stars in that space, I could see a lot of my worries and my stressors and all the problems and things that were weighing me down at that time in my life. They were all kind of passing by me while we were flying through the stars and stuff. And I couldn't grab onto them and try to work on them. I wanted to, but I couldn't. They were just zooming by me so fast. And then we got to the end of this star tunnel thing, this space, and we were in total pitch black. And then all of a sudden this portal, like this oval portal, it like lights up. It's white at first, but then you can kind of like, once it like, you could focus into the portal and you could see like tons of rolling green grassy hills and trees, and there was like a pond over in the corner, and there were a bunch of people on blankets sitting on the hills with like picnic baskets, and people were just like enjoying the nature and like company with other people and their friends. There was a lot of laughter and happiness and feel good energy, and it kind of reminded me of Woodstock, but not Woodstock, because Woodstock was kind of a shit show. But it reminded me of, like the 70s. And people had all the really long hair and the drug rugs, and everybody had like a joint in between their fingers kind of thing. So that was beautiful. And I really wanted to continue walking to go into that portal, because the two guys, my friends that were leading me on this adventure, they took me to this portal so that I could come with them. And they started walking towards it, and I tried walking towards it, and my feet were frozen. I literally could not move my feet. I really wanted to go in there, but something in me stopped me from moving forward. They even tried pulling my hands towards this portal, and I was just so frozen. I just was stuck. And so they told me to go back into the physical reality, the earth's reality, and to smoke some more weed and then come back. So I did that. I went back to my body, and I could feel it. It was very fast. It was like a drop feeling. I like dropped into my body, and I like woke up, and I sat up on my couch, and I smoked some more weed, and then I lay back down. I closed my eyes, and I tried to get back into that same place, but I couldn't. No matter how hard I tried, I just could not get myself back into that. Like with those guys that were taking me out to this adventure, I couldn't do it. And I think what was distracting me was when I closed my eyes, I had this stupid, annoying voice in my head that just would not shut up, and it was just like distracting me. It was like complete like gibberish nonsense. It was just like over and over again. And I kept focusing on it because I was like annoyed at it. And then I just passed out. I woke up the next morning and realized that I didn't get back to where I wanted to go. And that was the end of that trip.
Did you experience any long-term effects as a result from that experience?
I don't really, I mean, after every trip I have, I think about it for weeks after. Like I try to like process it and like, you know, try to understand it more and like integrate those experiences. But I haven't really like paid much attention to how they have impacted me after those experiences. I think it's kind of just like I feel it, so it just kind of like exists with me. Like if there is like a perspective change or whatever, I kind of just like dive into that and I embody the perspective change, I guess. Yeah, that's a good way of explaining it, I think.